RNC Chairman Reince-Priebus has been on the job for less than a year, but he inherited a Republican Party in disarray. He has tried to bring a steady hand and a salesman's charm to the job. Our Mike Lowe went to Washington, D.C. to speak with the party boss about the issues facing the GOP. Mike joins us now with more. Mike.
Good evening, Brad. Tonight we're starting a new segment. It's called the Political Lowdown. We hope to introduce you to the people and the issues facing the state and the country and do it in depth. In our first installment, we traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with the chairman of the Republican National Committee to talk about party politics heading into 2012. It was Shakespeare who once famously asked, "What's in a name?" And when you have a name like Reince-Priebus, that seems to be an appropriate place to start an interview.
Your name.
Yeah.
I mean, people say that's a weird name.
It is a weird name. It is. I mean, it's a bizarre name. You know, and the fact is my kids' names are Jack and Grace. My wife is Sally, my sister's Marie, my dad is Richard, and I got Reince.
His full name is Reinhold Reince-Priebus.
It's actually a derivative, so it's like Jim and James. It gets weirder and weirder, Mike.
Weirder and weirder, maybe. More and more familiar, definitely.
Reince-Priebus, he joins us from RNC headquarters.
We are pleased to have Reince-Priebus. Good to see you, Reince.
Priebus is the Republican National Committee chairman.
And then after that, we will go to the 11:15 meetings.
He is the face, the voice, and the head of the grand old party. Priebus ran for the chairmanship against his old boss, Michael Steele.
Thank you. All right, one time. Thank you very much. We need to make sure that we're running a functional, operational party, which means raising money, staying on message, watching your mouth.
Steele's tenure was marked by mismanagement. He left the RNC $25 million in debt.
Certainly we inherited kind of a little bit of a disaster.
Now Priebus is putting his own stamp on the office, giving new meaning to the party's traditional symbol, the pachyderm.
So we've got that all over the office, Packer helmets, cheese heads, Packer pictures all over the place, so we're proud of Wisconsin.
Priebus grew up in Kenosha, went to Tremper High School, and says his political views were forged in a failing economy.
Kenosha is a great, I think it's a great place to grow up because I think you saw people working hard. I think you saw what happens when you stop making it easier for businesses to thrive in America, where you had almost 18,000 people working at American Motors and Chrysler, and it's all gone.
Priebus left Wisconsin for Washington about a month before Governor Scott Walker unveiled his plan to curtail collective bargaining rights for most public workers.
You have serious changes that are taking place in philosophy on what government means in Wisconsin. And all of this sort of noise in Madison didn't amount to anything as far as the Democrats winning in Wisconsin. They didn't win in the Prosser race. They didn't win in their effort to turn the state Senate upside down.
He says he's spoken to Republican donors from around the country willing to help underwrite a potential Scott Walker recall campaign.
They'll spend another $30 million. They'll have $30 million less for the election in 2012, and they'll lose. And Scott Walker will be even stronger than he is now.
Priebus presided over the historic Republican victory in Wisconsin during the November 2010 election.
Wisconsin is open for business.
In that single election, the GOP flipped the governor's mansion, took both houses of the state legislature and the U.S. Senate seat held by Russ Feingold for more than 20 years. Priebus is the architect of the strategy that brought Republicans to power in Madison. He says he can use the same basic blueprint to change the resident here at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
It can work in any state. If we can do it in Wisconsin, we can do it anywhere. I think this president is destroying this country. And so, I mean, it's just that simple.
President Obama carried Wisconsin by 14 percentage points in 2008. The president has been here several times since his election, and Priebus says Wisconsin will continue to be a key battleground during the next presidential election.
Well, I think it's very critical. I think Wisconsin is, turning red right now. I think you're seeing that it's solid and that Wisconsin's Republican from now for the near future at least. But it's nothing that we can take for granted. So I think it's going to be critical.
And for the next year, that will be the sole focus of the Kenosha native with the curious name.
You are 39 years old now.
Yeah.
You've reached kind of the heights of American politics at a very young age. When you kind of reflect on how far you've come, what do you think?
You know, Mike, I don't think about it. I really don't think about the heights of this or that. And, you know, I've got a job to do. I mean, I worry about day by day, week by week, month by month, both fundraising, media, being functional, all the things that we need to do here in order to take our little piece of the puzzle, which is the Republican National Committee, and just make that the best possible committee and best possible piece to put back on the table when it's time to defeat this president.
And Priebus says he is watching the Republican presidential debates just like the rest of us, and he's not endorsing anyone until the voters make a choice. Now, on Thursday, in our next installment of the Political Lowdown, we'll go one-on-one with one of the state's top Democrats, Senator Herb Kohl. That's Thursday on Fox 6 News.
Interesting stuff. You know, a lot of people who probably don't know what the Republican National Committee does are wondering, what does Reince-Priebus do?
Reince-Priebus told us that he spends 80% of his time actually fundraising, and he says he actually enjoys it. I've talked to many politicians who say that's the worst part of the job, calling and asking people for money. He says he likes doing that because it's a metric. It's something that you can actually measure in politics. You know if you're doing well, if you're raising a lot of money. The only other way to figure out if you're doing well in politics is to wait till Election Day. So he actually likes being able to track his progress.
Very good. Fascinating. Thanks, Mike.
Armand.